Hello, welcome. I'm Giovanni Hall Art. Today I'm going to do a quick coloring stream or painting of my drawing I did for Halloween. Hope I can finish in time to post it for Halloween. All right, let's go into it. Also, I'll be listening to a podcast by Ron Mango, part 3 of the Diddy trials. So yeah, let's get into it. We're working really fast. All right.
Rap Devil. Now, this is very interesting because it's a play on words. If you guys know anything about Eminem's discography, one of his most famous, well-known songs, it's called Rap God. So for Machine Gun Kelly to drop Rap Devil, it's clearly a hit on Eminem. Once you read the lyrics, it gets even crazier. And these two start dropping diss tracks against each other. And we're not here to talk about MGK and Eminem. It's just that as they're releasing these diss tracks, there is one name that keeps popping up in all their songs. Diddy. Sean Diddy Combs. In Rap Devil, MGK raps about how he signed with Bad Boy Records, and the lyrics read, "Why are you claiming that I'm going to call Puff when you're the one that called Diddy? Then you went and called Jimmy." Jimmy is a guy that runs Interscope Records, which MGK is also part of. "They conferenced me in the morning, and they told me that you was mad about a tweet. You wanted me to say sorry? I swear to God, I didn't even believe him. Please say it's not so. The big bad bully of the rap game can't take a fucking joke." He's basically saying, hello world, Eminem was so mad for the past 6 years, so mad about this tweet from 6 years ago that he called both my record label bosses, Diddy, who owns Bad Boy Records, and Jimmy, who owns Interscope Records, to bitch about it. But that's crazy because he's the big bad wolf that can do anything, right? So he can do anything but take a joke? To which Eminem releases a diss track titled Kill Shot, where he makes many disses towards MGK, but again, we're not here to discuss that. We're here for Diddy. He makes a reference for Diddy in that song as well. The lyrics read, "But Kels, the day you put out a hit is the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed." Eminem, in his song, whether he is serious or it's just creative liberty, he has just now accused Diddy of murder. But at the end of the song, Eminem says, "And I'm just playing, Diddy. You know I love you." Diddy never made a public statement about Eminem's lyrics, but sources that were close to Diddy said he was furious. He was pissed off. So what the hell does this all mean? If he's not joking, that means Eminem truly just accused Diddy of killing one of the biggest names in the rap world, Tupac? But that was in 2018. Nobody was focusing on Diddy. Nobody was focusing on these lyrics. They were so caught up in the diss tracks between MGK and Eminem, and the fact that Kill Shot was one of the most viewed videos within 24 hours of releasing. Some people picked up on it. They thought it was clever, but again, it doesn't make mainstream news like that. Until 2024. This year, Eminem releases yet another song called Fuel, and this time it's in your face. The lyrics read, "I'm like an RAPER, got so many essays." Wait, he didn't just spell the word rapper and leave out a P, did he?
What?
Rest in peace, Biggie. And Pac, both of y'all should be living. But I ain't trying to beef with him, cause he might put a hit out on me, like Keefy D get him.
Whoa, when was this?
A few months ago. Now, in a 3.5-minute song where Eminem is rapping at an unhumanly fast speed, it might be hard to realize, especially if you don't know many of the people that he's referencing. I mean, the RAPER, that one is very obvious. He's calling P. Diddy a raper. But the next part, he's talking about two rappers that were murdered, Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac. They were both related to Diddy. One he saw as his main competitor, and the other one he saw as this money-making machine for his label. And within 6 months of each other, both of them were murdered. There are new allegations surfacing that Diddy might be responsible for both, which a lot of people find it very easy to believe considering that Diddy has a past of people dying around him. This is part 3 of the Diddy case, where we cover the 13 deaths closely linked to Diddy, and all the supposed evidence there might be linking him to those murders. We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the Arizona Anti-Trafficking Network. They work constantly to bring solutions to the illegal and human trafficking network in the States. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team. We would also like to thank you guys for your continued support. As always, full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com. Now, a big disclaimer on this case, it is currently ongoing and developing as we speak. There have been no court verdicts yet, so unfortunately, I must legally state that these are all the current allegations and accusations. People are innocent until proven guilty. Some statements have been shortened for time, and furthermore, all reporting for this episode is taken from the information that is already available online. Please form your own opinions and do your own research. I am not here to convince you of anyone's guilt or innocence. Some potentially triggering themes involve heavy use of illicit substances, including date, R-word drugs, DV, workplace and gang violence, essays, trafficking. This case is going to be very heavy. So in part 1, we did a deep dive on Diddy and Cassie's lawsuit, as well as the allegations of the freak-offs and the supposed Illuminati connection. In part 2, we did Diddy's yacht parties and the mysterious death of his ex-girlfriend and the mother of his children, Kim Porter, and the so-called memoir that was released on Amazon. This part, we will be talking about the 13 people that are mysteriously linked to Diddy that have died, including hip-hop legends Tupac and Biggie. In part 4, we're going to go over current ongoing allegations, new lawsuits, and all the celebrities that have been listed on the so-called Diddy's list. So another quick disclaimer, I did not grow up in the Tupac Biggie era. I've listened to their songs before, and I know that these are two of the most influential artists to this day, and the significance that they played in the music industry, even posthumously. I mean, I know that much, but in terms of their upbringing, their beliefs in the world, I can only tell you from researching in hindsight. I did speak with people who have a deeper appreciation for the two artists, and I tried to include as much possible, but given the runtime of these pods and the fact that most of the conversation is still going to be centered around Diddy and the potential connection in their deaths, this is not going to cover their artistry, the way that they create music, their beliefs, and the impact that they had on the greater world. I think that would take 3 more episodes. I also know that there's people that are still pro Tupac or pro Biggie and not the other. I tried to get a comprehensive overview on both, but I don't have a preference for either, nor am I trying to convince you to like one more over the other, truly. So with that being said, let's get into it. Do you know one of Diddy's biggest songs?
No.
It's called I'll Be Missing You. When it was released, it hit #1 on the Billboard's Hot 100 charts for 22 consecutive weeks, which is kind of insane. The lyrics read, "Every day I wake up, I hope I'm dreaming. I can't believe this shit. I mean, I saw your son, he looks just like you. You will always be the greatest. You'll always be the greatest. I miss you big." The chorus of the song goes, "Every step I take, every move I make, every single day, every time I pray, I'll be missing you. Thinking of the day when you went away."
Fun fact, I think to this day, Diddy has to pay Sting royalties on that song because he used his sample without permission. If I'm clear, if I'm still correct. But anyways, that's funny.
What a life to take. What a bond to break. I'll be missing you. This song is probably the song that many people think of when they want to really resonate with lyrics of losing someone. It's often played at funerals. It's about missing someone that's gone too soon. The whole thing was technically taken, actually, this whole song, from Sting's Every Breath You Take. He took a sample of that song and he just rewrote the lyrics without receiving the proper permission. Sting actually gets 100% of the royalties for that song to this day, but that is besides the point. It was probably one of the most pivotal songs during that time, and it was a tribute to his fallen friend, Notorious B.I.G. It actually won him a Grammy. But the wild thing is, in 2024, if we live in a world where some of the conspiracies turn out to be true, that means Diddy would have written this song as a tribute to the man that he may have helped kill, and sang it alongside the wife of the man that was murdered.
That is
This
crazy.
is the Diddy connection to Tupac and Biggie and their murders that everybody suspects Diddy was involved in. This particular elevator ride is taking a lot longer than normal. This is way back in the day. Typically to go up 8 floors, it would take about 48 seconds, but this is feeling like a lifetime. When Tupac gets up to the 8th floor, he can't even feel anything. His whole body is numb. He says, "When I got upstairs, I looked around and it scared the shit out of me." He sees standing there Biggie, Notorious B.I.G., famous rapper, alongside
Oh, why aren't they texting me back? Are they mad at me? Do they not like me anymore?
30 other guys, including Sean Diddy Combs. They were all there working on a new album titled, interestingly enough, Conspiracy. Then one of the guys there bursts out crying, "Oh my God, Pac, you have to sit down, you have to sit down." Tupac said, "I was feeling weird, like why do they want me to sit down?" It's like nobody wanted to approach him. He says, "I noticed that nobody would look at me. Diddy was standing back too, and I knew Diddy. He knew how much stuff I had done for his artist Biggie before he came out." Whatever was said, or rather not said in that room, would solidify everything. Because in that cramped room, Tupac is practically alone, having been shot 5 times. Twice in the head, twice in the groin, once in the hand. And he has a feeling that one or a few people in that room have something to do with it. He was shot in the lobby of a studio. He hides in the elevator, takes the elevator up to the 8th floor, and there's Biggie, Diddy, and all these other artists on the east side.
He just got shot?
Just got shot. He's bleeding out.
By himself.
And no one wants to approach him, according to Tupac. And it was in that moment that he felt someone in that room had something to do with this shooting, Diddy and Biggie. And perhaps he was right. Perhaps he wasn't right. But within 2 years, Tupac would be dead.
Do you know who shot you?
No.
So does that mean that you also have no idea why they shot you?
No, I have no idea why they shot me. It's like anybody's guess. I don't know. I don't really like to talk about it.
There is a conspiracy out there that Tupac Shakur, one of the biggest artists of all time, that he's more actually commonly referred to as a cultural phenomenon than a rapper, has faked their death. That's the conspiracy. Tupac is alive. He's faked his death. He's out there. He's just watching all of us.
What?
This is the conspiracy that he's still alive. So if you know anything about Tupac, a lot of people might have wanted him dead. The vice president at the time, Don Quayle, who served under George W. Bush, he would state about some of Tupac's music, "There is absolutely no reason for a record like this to be published. No reason at all."
Time Warner's a subsidiary, Interscope Records, withdraw this record. It has no place in our society.
Why? I mean, some would say because Tupac would release songs that served as social commentary. He was trying to enact change. One song is titled White Man's World. Notable lyrics read, "One thing they ever did wrong was being born black in this white man's world. Being born with less, I must confess, only adds to the stress. Proud to be black, but why we act like we don't love ourselves. Don't look around, check yourself. Know what it means to be black, whether a man or girl. We're still struggling in this white man's world. We must fight for the countless political prisoners who are locked up falsely by the white man." He names prominent activists who fought for black rights. Government did not like this song. For a long time, Tupac was actually on the FBI watch list.
What?
Now, it's really hard to summarize who Tupac was, and obviously nobody is defined by their career, but Tupac is different. He had a lot of intense views, and I say intense to highlight that it was intense for him. It was not smooth sailing for him to say these things, because they might be considered normal right now. But the things that he was saying like 20 years ago, back then, he's making people uncomfortable. He's making the FBI uncomfortable. So all that's to say, he's very ahead of his time. He's saying things like, "I would have to change the world," or "I have to be changed by the world." In an interview, he once said, "This world is such a world," and when I say world, I mean it. I don't mean it in an ideal sense. I mean it every day and every little thing you do. It's such a gimme, 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 everybody back up. You get taught that from school. Every business, you want to be successful? Gimme, 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 push, push, step, step, crush, crush. That's all it is. Nobody ever stops. There's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting the lotto for $36 million, and then we got people starving on the streets. That is not idealistic. That's just real. I mean, that is stupid. There is no way. There's no way that these people should own planes when there's people that don't have houses. I think that if they earned it, that's good. I think that they deserve it. But even if they still own it, they still owe it. He's known for being very, very vocal about the state of the world and what it means to be black and successful, but still feel indebted to the communities that you started from.
I don't fit in. That's hell. It's hell when you can't be around your peers. All my life I grew up around black people, poor people, but I can't live around poor people now because they'll rob me. And why would they rob me? Because they're starving, because there's no money here. But they're telling me, now that I made a little money, I have to move here. So it's not like no one's ever trying to deal with this section. They're just moving away from it. And we got more stars coming from the ghetto, but they're gonna all move this way. All the society is doing is leeching off the ghetto. I don't want to be another I don't want to be 50 years old at a BET We Shall Overcome Achievement Awards. You know what I'm saying? Not me.
Wait, he mentioned 50-year-old BET award?
Yeah, exactly what Diddy received.
Whoa.
To the point where Tupac had a lot of people who did not like the way and the things that he spoke about. They said, yeah, we would rather him not speak, like the vice president at the time. And he would say a lot of interesting things that I think ring true today. He would say things like, the government is the mob. Like, that's the mob. I want to read the books that Clinton is reading because he does the same shit that we do, that I do, but he doesn't get in trouble for it. He says, I think this country still runs on gangs. Republicans, Democrats, the police department, the FBI, the CIA, those are gangs. Even the correctional officers, which, side note, Tupac, he comes from like a line of activists. His mother was a prominent activist. She was part of the Panther 21, part of the larger Black Panther Party. Tupac was speaking at Black Panther Party rallies since he was 17. He's also had quite a notable personal life as well. I think a lot of younger people might know this part of him more than the activist part of him, which is sad, but you get it. He's been romantically linked with Jada Pinkett Smith. I believe they've known each other since high school days. I don't know if they dated per se, but they were really close. Jada Pinkett Smith liked to call them soulmates, and it was a whole thing. Wow. By the time that they were ready to date, allegedly, she was already dating Will Smith. He wrote about it in a book, talking about how he would never live up to Tupac. Because he's Tupac and he's just the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Tupac was also linked to have dated Madonna briefly. The two of them kept it a secret. It was recently in the news because one of the breakup letters that he had written her before his passing, it went to auction for over $100,000 and it was this whole ordeal. Madonna tried to stop it. She's like, that's my private life. That's my romantic life. Why is that letter going up for auction? Who okayed this? Turns out her former personal assistant had gotten rid of a bunch of her stuff. This was included in that stuff. The judge allowed the auction to go forward.
The assistant was selling her love letter?
I don't know if they were selling or if they had just gotten rid of some clutter in the house and thought that this was clutter. But it seems a little nefarious. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Now, side note, in an interview from jail, Tupac had nothing but amazing things to say about Madonna. He did some not so nice things to her, said some not so nice things to her because he felt like he was a big Black Panther type of guy and she's white. Even though she's shown him nothing but love, he never felt like he could date a white woman. And he said that he felt really, really bad because once he went to jail, he called her. She was the only one of that level, of that stature that was willing to help him, which shortly after prison, he would be the one to say, my mama always used to tell me, if you can't find something to live for, then you best find something to die for. And he would die shortly after prison at 25 years old. There have been allegations throughout the years to keep this theory, conspiracy theory, that he's still alive, if you will. People were reporting from all over the world. I saw him in New Mexico. I saw him in South Africa. And then Tupac's former bodyguard states, I know the truth. The truth is, Tupac is alive and has escaped to Cuba. He states that Tupac has been smuggled into Cuba with the help of Fidel Castro himself. Which, side note, this is not a random connection. Tupac's aunt is a political activist that is living in Cuba right now as an American fugitive. So he does have connections. He says, I have definitive proof. As his former bodyguard, I helped him fake his death. He's alive, he's in Cuba, and I'm gonna show you that proof in a few days. I mean, this feels like the real deal. Surely, this is like his former security detail. This is not some random person on the internet that's like, I saw Tupac when I was vacationing. But right before he's gonna release the evidence, he dies.
What?
What?
He dies.
How?
Oh.
Nobody knows. And then a year later, he comes back from the dead and releases a YouTube video. He says, my name's Michael Neese. I faked my death on the 18th of December. I'm here today, back from the dead, to show why and how I faked my death. I'm gonna put the record straight. I confess I faked my death and I feel quite ashamed about it, but it had to be done and I'm here to explain the reasons why. He argues that he had to fake his own death because he had to prove that he has the capabilities to help Tupac fake his death.
What
He-
in the world?
Yeah, he alleges that he has audio and video of Fidel Castro confirming that he sanctioned Tupac's move to Cuba. But the evidence has still yet to be publicly presented. People are skeptical about his claims now, but it has fueled the conspiracy that Tupac is still alive and well. And there's so many things to this theory. Yes, there's the reported sightings in New Jersey, Boston, Wall Street, LA, but there's also in his posthumous album that he did under
Okay, that's interesting.
Mary, which shows Tupac quite literally rising from the earth to murder all of his enemies. Now, the explanation here is he has all these unreleased music videos, these unreleased records that are now slowly getting released. But people thought it was weird. He's talking about rising from the earth to murder all of his enemies. Also, the album Machiavelli is a play on the word Machiavelli, the political philosopher. Apparently, he studied him extensively while he was in prison, and he was particularly a fan of the book The Prince, which some people have interpreted one of the lessons in there, one of the strategies for general principles of deception by Machiavelli to be faking your own death to control and fool your enemies. Some people went as far to rearrange the letters in Machiavelli because he could have spelled it differently for copyright reasons, because Machiavelli and Machiavelli are spelled differently. But also, what if it's an anagram for am, alive, K? What does K mean? K is a friend of his named Casanova the Don, which he might want to reassure that he's alive.
Why was he in prison?
Oh, we'll get there. It's a very complicated issue. Side note, he actually releases a lot more music posthumously than he did when he was alive. And in one of the songs, you hear the lyrics, "Expect me like you expect Jesus to come back. I'm coming." People thought it was strange. Then in another song he sings, "I heard the rumors I died, murdered in cold blood, dramatized. Pictures of me in my final state. You know my mama cried, but that was fiction. Some coward got the story twisted." Furthermore, the way the unreleased songs, when they were released, they always sounded with the times. They always sounded modern, if you will. Now, some argue that's because the way they cut and pieced together, remastered the song to be with the times, but still.
But why would he be faking his own death for?
Because it's not just the rap world that was missing Tupac. He was on the FBI watch list for being a political activist. And then it all comes full circle in 2024 when a book gets published alleging to be Kim Porter's memoir that we talked about in the previous episode about the horrors that she allegedly faced being Diddy's longtime girlfriend before she died. This supposed memoir is published on Amazon under the name Jamal T. Millwood, which is one of the many names that people believe Tupac is living under as his alias because he's still alive, is the theory. There are a few things that you should never do during a bail hearing. One of them is probably lashing out at the prosecutors. It's probably advantageous to not point at the prosecution team and say, these two dudes right here, they're not only ugly on the outside, they're ugly on the inside too. September 2023, a man named Dwayne Keefe D, that's his nickname, Davis, gets arrested for the murder of Tupac. He's part of the Compton Crips. Evidently, he likes to call himself the Compton Street Legend. That's also the title of his memoir.
You say last year?
Last year, like decades later.
This guy got arrested for murder of Tupac.
Yes, for killing Tupac. Decades later, he gets arrested and he's pointing at the prosecution team, calling them ugly.
They're not only ugly on the outside, but they're ugly on the inside too.
You're like, what does this have to do with anything, right? Well, Dwayne Keefe D, gets arrested, and just like the case in episode 1 of Jonathan Odie, after his arrest, he starts saying some very interesting things. He starts singing to the authorities, and honestly, he had been singing to the public, to the documentaries, in his own memoir for years, that perhaps a certain someone had put a hit out on Tupac, worth 7 figures, $1 million. Kill Tupac, you get $1 million. Now you do the math. What kind of person has that kind of money to take down another person? The police don't have to guess because Keefe D tells them Sean Diddy Combs.
he said Sean Diddy hired him,
Yeah.
paid him $1 million to kill Tupac.
Well, that's the thing. He killed Tupac. Well, he wasn't the guy that pulled the trigger, but they did it. They killed Tupac, and Diddy still didn't pay him. And he's very upset about that. He says that he still, to this day, never received payment, and Diddy owes him big time. Now, this is very intriguing because this was just last year. He was arrested before all the allegations came forward about Diddy. Tupac was killed back in 1996.
Yeah.
Is there any new evidence or supposed evidence linking Diddy to the murder? According to a new lawsuit filed October 15th, 2024, a few weeks ago. I don't know when you guys are seeing this. Ashley Parham, she's going public with her name, and Ashley said that she was sitting at a bar when this guy next to her named Shane calls Diddy on FaceTime. He FaceTimes Diddy. She said this was back in 2018. Now, this happened, according to her lawsuit, in 2018, but she is just now filing the lawsuit along with all the other victims.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
And this is related to
Tupac.
Tupac.
Yes.
Okay.
He FaceTimes Diddy, and this is like around the height of the MGK and Eminem diss track, but I digress. The court docs are publicly available online. I'm telling you what she alleges in her document, but again, do your own research before you form an opinion. Everyone is innocent till proven guilty in the court of law. People have unfortunately lied before on court documents. I'm not saying that she's lying, but I'm also saying don't take it from me. Like, we have to see how it plays out in the court of law, legally speaking. The document alleges Ashley is sitting at the bar with Shane. Shane is trying to brag. He's trying to get those brownie points for FaceTiming Diddy, the Sean Combs. It's kind of icky, you know, the way he's allegedly trying to impress people by having a famous friend. Let's just say Ashley is not impressed. The initial ick of like, ugh, you're doing this right now? Calling your famous friend, but also it's Diddy. Ashley states out loud that she's not impressed, especially because she always believed Diddy had something to do with Tupac's murder. Because there were rumors back then.
Right. And this Sean guy is just a random friend?
Shane.
Shane. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Random guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Diddy's still on the FaceTime, mind you, and he makes a passing remark that Ashley's gonna pay for that comment. He hears her say, oh, I never really liked Diddy because I always thought Diddy was involved in Tupac's murder. And he's like, you're going to pay for that. Which, okay, I mean, how? The next month, Ashley gets a call from Shane, the guy from the bar. And he explains that he has cancer. Could you please come over because I'm having a hard time opening my medications. I'm in this weakened physical state. And yeah, she goes over because who's going to say no to that? She goes over, she opens his medications, helps him, and the two of them turn on a movie when out of nowhere, the main door to the apartment slams open, and allegedly, in comes Diddy, his bodyguard, and his chief of staff, the woman that has been compared to Ghislaine Maxwell in lawsuits and by netizens. The way Diddy walked in, as described in the lawsuit, was like ready to party. But it just feels maniacal because nobody's trying to party with him. He allegedly gets into Ashley's face and starts taunting her. Oh, you never thought you were actually gonna see me, did you? In that manner is how it's described. But she still has to pay for what she said about Tupac during the FaceTime, doesn't she? Diddy allegedly grabs a knife, puts it up to Ashley's face, and threatens to give her a glass glow smile. Retaliation for her for what she said about Tupac. She states that the chief of staff allegedly tells Diddy not to because then they can't sell her. She threatens her, the chief of staff, the AKA second Ghislaine Maxwell, that they could easily just ship her off anywhere into the world and they would never see her again. Her family would never see her. Nobody would ever know.
That's crazy. So this is a trap from the beginning?
Yes. So the call from Shane is allegedly, according to the lawsuit, a trap.
What? She's not dating this guy either.
No.
She's just being nice to help him.
It seems like maybe they are forming like an acquaintanceship.
Wow.
She alleges that Diddy puts the knife down, takes off all her clothes, and starts squirting this oil liquid that he just takes out of his large fanny pack all over her. This is the very strange part, but allegedly Diddy and his chief of staff spend a bit of time trying to insert an IUD into Ashley, which if you know, an IUD is like a copper metal T-shaped device that you stick into your cervix so that you don't get pregnant. Getting an IUD from a doctor is probably one of the most painful experiences that some people have ever had, to the point where there are conversations about why are there no anesthetics as an option for patients. I mean, it has to go into the uterus. Some parents have stated it's worse than childbirth. One person said, "My soul left my body. I saw a white flash of light." I'm not even being dramatic. It was the most painful thing ever. And these people are getting it done at medical facilities. And these people allegedly trying to stick an IUD into her have presumably no medical experience. Eventually, they stop. The chief of staff, along with another one of the entourage, they leave. But there's still 2 other of Diddy's entourage there. So it's Shane, Diddy, and 2 of Diddy's entourage. 4 guys there that she had never met other than Shane. She's naked, she's terrified, and allegedly Diddy grabs a TV remote from nearby and violently essays her with it. While he's doing that, he's allegedly scathingly telling her that her life is in his hands. He could do whatever he wants to her. He could take her so that she's never seen again. The lawsuit alleges that she was already in pain from the IUD assault when Diddy throws her over onto her stomach and allegedly instructs Shane. Again, these are all allegations you can find online. I wasn't there to tell you definitively if this is how it happened and if this happened. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but these are quite specific allegations. Now, Ashley states in the lawsuit that Diddy tells Shane to put a pillow over her head. He's sick of her hearing her crying. The next instruction is Diddy tells Shane to allegedly essay Ashley anally. She states it was gang essay. First Shane, then Diddy, then John Doe 2 and John Doe 1. She doesn't even know the names of these people that were gang essaying her. John Doe 1, before he even essays her, she said that he grabbed a bunch of baby oil, gets it all over her, and gets on top of her to use her like some sort of, quote, slip and slide. But due to how big his allegedly enormous stature was, the wind gets knocked out of Ashley. And she noticed the whole time Diddy was recording the assault while self-pleasuring. She also notices someone's phone had fallen off near the bed. She tries to reach for it to call for help, but the massive amounts of baby oil everywhere, it slips out of her hands. To which the lawsuit alleges Diddy found this quite hilarious. He also kept commenting that he owned her now. Ashley, in her attempt to leave, somehow ends up in the backyard where they're all smoking. So after they're done, they just go to the backyard allegedly and smoke like nothing happened. Now, at this point, again, allegations, Diddy asks her in a very strange, probably even more terrifyingly friendly way, "Why haven't we partied together before? You're so much fun. I haven't had ass that tight in a while." One of the guy allegedly laughs and states, "Yeah, because you only have anal with men." Which everyone laughs, but Ashley, she does not entertain them. She tells them this was not partying, this was rape. Diddy allegedly did not like that. He offers her money and tries to convince her that she's a sex worker and that this was consensual. Ashley allegedly loses it, telling him that she's not a sex worker and she's going to the police. He threatens her that her whole family is going to be harmed if she does anything like that. She states that at this point, Diddy calls someone and that person picks up a FaceTime and they're outside of Ashley's sister's home. And then he allegedly does the most bizarre thing. He calls his own mom, Janice Combs, who allegedly starts yelling at Ashley that she's just like a sex worker, saying all these crazy things. She better not go to the police and hurt her son. But the craziest part is, a whole fight breaks out. One of the entourage essayers did not hear the comments that she had made about Tupac. And when she brought that up again, he pulls a gun out and points it at Diddy, allegedly. Because he's like, "You killed Tupac?"
Wait, she mentioned that right now in that.
Yes.
That is
And then one of the guys
crazy
just pulled a
story.
gun out on Diddy.
Yes. And Ashley alleges that she took the knife that she had been hiding to defend herself. Everyone starts running. A neighbor comes out to investigate. Shots are fired into the fence.
What?
Ashley grazes Diddy in the stomach with a knife. More shots are fired. Ashley and a neighbor are taking cover behind a car. They make it to shelter in another neighbor's house where they state they called the police. Ashley alleges that the sheriff came, but after taking her statement, they didn't call her an ambulance. They didn't take her to the hospital. They didn't even offer to help her to get her clothes
That
or
is
phone from
crazy.
Shane's residence. Eventually, Ashley goes home, unsure of what to do. She did spend the night at Shane's, which is a lot of thing that
Sorry,
netizens
just
have been
checking,
pointing out. Like, if you were that scared, why did
message
you
real
stay?
quick.
But of course, that's like a crazy question to
back to
ask,
crying.
right? Now, eventually, Ashley goes home. She's unsure of what to do. The first call that she makes in regards to this appears to be a few days later. She calls her primary care doctor asking for an HIV and STD test. She just didn't think anyone would believe her if she called the police because they already called the police, according to her allegations, and they did nothing. Side note, I do see some netizens calling this story so intense that it almost feels over the top, right? But other netizens have been pointing to Lil Rod, which we covered his lawsuit in the last episode. He was a producer that worked with Sean Diddy Combs for his 2023 album, the Love album. And he talks about how he has a head of security that can make things go away because he has lots of connections to law enforcement. For example, we're going to talk about this in the next episode, but there was at one point in the recording studio, Diddy, Justin, and another guy allegedly, according to Little Rod, get into a fight. Diddy, Justin, and the other guy go to the restroom. Justin Combs, his son.
Oh.
Yeah, Diddy's son. They go into a restroom, shots get fired, and the guy ends up shot in the stomach. Now, this actually did happen, but Diddy and Justin allegedly told everyone, hey, just tell everyone we were on the other side of the studio and we weren't there. We don't know who shot him. And they never got investigated for it. And Lil Rod is alleging that it's because his head of security has a lot of law enforcement connections. A lot. Who knows? I'm not saying those two things are related. I'm just saying these are what netizens are bringing up when people are saying, I don't know, this lawsuit sounds really over the top, right? And it's also so oddly specific that a lot of netizens are like, I mean, how do you make up such oddly specific things?
Yeah.
You know? But again, I don't know. I wasn't there. She states in the lawsuit she didn't call the police again because she already told the police, and now what? She just wants to get tested. And the crazy thing is she's just terrified. Her family is in danger. So days after the assault, she sees Shane, the guy that called her over, set her up, the guy from the bar, driving around in a new car. She believes that he got paid for that.
Wow. Is her identity out with the lawsuit?
She stated that she didn't want to hide her identity, which a lot of victims are hiding their identity. And I think it's totally understandable, right? But I think she just really wants people to see that she's, you know, definitely a lot of netizens are saying it adds more water to her claims.
More credibility, yes.
It's not until a few weeks later that Ashley presumably feels brave enough to go somewhere about it. She goes and does an essay kit at the hospital, ultrasound, x-rays. She lost a substantial amount of weight in the past few weeks because of the trauma. The police are contacted once more at the hospital, but this time she doesn't name Diddy because she's scared. That's the part that makes her sound crazy. Like, oh, sure, yeah, an A-list billionaire did that to you? Sure. She names Shane. She says there's two other guys. She doesn't know their names. And she thinks in the lawsuit it's stated, she believes that the footage is likely somewhere on body cam footage for both police incidents. The day that it allegedly occurred and the day at the hospital. Even the day of the incident, it must be somewhere, right? Now, the next month, May 2018, Ashley says that she seeks assistance from therapists. She tries to have her therapy appointments covered by victim compensation funds, but then she's told that there's no law enforcement agency with an active investigation into her report, meaning she can't get free therapy because there's no active investigation. She's not a victim. So she's like, wait, what? This is confusing. The lawsuit states, quote, Ashley asked police for a copy of her report from the Walnut Creek Police Department on July 19th, 2018. Plaintiff, Ashley, was provided a letter from the police department stating that it was, quote, unable to furnish this information as it is confidential and not subject to public release. But she's not public. She's the victim in this case. But they allegedly refuse her a copy of her own police report where she's the victim.
You can do that? I thought FOIA, even for publics, we can.
There's a few legal barriers. So they're saying that this is strictly confidential. So I would imagine that they're telling her, hey, you got to get signed off by all the parties involved to get this receipt, you know, which has happened before in cases. The Contra Costa County Sheriff did make a statement that reads, a report was taken March 23rd, 2018. We take these cases seriously and detectives thoroughly investigated the accusations. It was later determined that the claims were unfounded. So they're just saying like, yeah, we did take reports, but they're not real. Like the claims were unfounded.
Wow.
Now, just to reiterate, a civil lawsuit does not mean that this is the truth and that Diddy will be found guilty in the court system. Some netizens state, bullshit, more gold diggers with these lawsuits. But most netizens, from what I could see, believe Ashley. They state all of that just because she said Diddy had something to do with Tupac's death. Now, that is absolute confirmation to me that yes, he is indeed guilty of Tupac's death. Another comments, this just doesn't stop getting worse. To which someone responds, oh, I'm just going to imagine they're going to get a lot more worse. Which it does appear to be that way, because now with Tupac being brought up in association with Diddy, all of Diddy's past is seeing the light of day. And it's a lot. 33 years ago, Puff Daddy, at the time, aka Diddy, was going to host a fundraiser for AIDS at the New York City College.
It's the holidays at Wayfair.
Yo, it's a gift swap. You gotta swap.
That is crazy, but we're gonna keep going. Also, I'm Giovanni Hall Art. I'll be posting the different version of this on my Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. So feel free to follow me on there. Links are in the bio. There'll be a different version of this and on Patreon. Alright.
Pay $20 to watch celebrities play basketball. Boys to Men, Run DMC, Jodeci, Heavy D, Big Daddy Kane. It was rumored that Mike Tyson was gonna be there. This is a huge event. Nearly 5,000 people show up to the gym. The problem being, the maximum capacity in that gym is half of that, less than half of that, and nobody knew how to turn away the crowd. Around 6 p.m., the crowd manages to break through the exterior doors, but there's another set of doors that you...
Alrighty, I'm going to end here for this one. I'm going to finish this up later, but I want to post this quick drawing for my Instagram, so I still have time to post it for Halloween. But yeah, this was a quick little session. The alternate versions will be on my Instagram and Twitter and all my social media platforms. So yeah, check that out. Links in the bio. Alright, I hope you guys have a good one. See you on the next stream, and bye. I think the next stream I'll probably do a more detail, anything, add more details and stuff, but this is going to be it for now. We have a good one. Bye.